All right, we officially have Gabby Marshall reconnecting with Caitlin Clark, joining forces in Indianapolis. This is good news. Now all we gotta do is find a way to get rid of Stephanie White and get Kate Martin to Indiana as well. We gotta break this down. The Caitlin Clark, Gabby Marshall reconnection is happening.
Watch this reaction very closely, because what looks like harmless news on the surface is actually revealing something much bigger about the state of the WNBA. Gabby Marshall, Caitlin Clark's former Iowa teammate who hasn't played pro ball since April 2024, is suddenly packing up and moving to Indianapolis. And the timing? It's anything but random. The Indiana Fever are heading into the 2026 season with only 3 players under contract. 3. That's not just a thin roster. That's a full-scale emergency. Add in the looming CBA negotiations that could shake up the entire league, and it's clear the Fever might already be preparing for a season filled with replacement players. So now, Gabby Marshall leaving Chapel Hill and showing up in Indianapolis doesn't look like coincidence at all. It looks like a calculated move at the exact moment. The Fever need bodies, chemistry, and familiar faces more than ever.
Part of that. So now we have this. Caitlin Clark's Iowa teammate Gabby Marshall announces move to Indiana. Now we know she has not been playing ball since Iowa. I think she moved to North Carolina or something after Iowa. Now headed to Indiana to reconnect with CC. Clark was forced to sit out as the Indiana Fever made an unexpected postseason run, pushing.
Let's get the timeline straight, because it matters more than anything. Gabby Marshall finished her college career in April 2024, sharing the national spotlight with Caitlin Clark during Iowa's historic, record-breaking run. Right after that, she stepped away from basketball, moved to North Carolina, and enrolled at UNC to earn her master's degree. A smart, intentional decision. For the next 8 months, she lived quietly in Chapel Hill, watching Fever games when she could and supporting Caitlin from a distance. Then suddenly, on Sunday, January 12th, 2025, everything shifted. Her partner, Spencer Turow, announced on Instagram that he had accepted a new position, Director of Operations at ETS Performance in Indianapolis. Not Charlotte, not Raleigh, Indianapolis, the exact city where Caitlin Clark plays. And now Gabby is packing up and heading straight back into Caitlin's orbit at the exact moment the WNBA is standing on the edge of its most explosive labor crisis ever. The timing doesn't just raise eyebrows. It practically screams that this is no coincidence.
And here it says, following her Iowa career, Marshall went on to attend the University of North Carolina, earning her master's degree. Oh, she's smart. Oh, she's smart. So she went on to North Carolina to earn her master's. Marshall has remained supportive of Clark during her WNBA career, attending numerous Fever games to watch her good friend despite being in Chapel Hill. But on Sunday, Marshall's partner, Spencer Turow, announced.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. We've seen this playbook before. J.R. Smith famously helped his brother Chris land a spot on the New York Knicks back in 2013. Giannis Antetokounmpo did the same for his brothers with the Milwaukee Bucks. For decades, NBA stars have leveraged their influence to open doors for the people closest to them. And let's be honest, when a player is generating hundreds of millions in revenue, that isn't nepotism. That's business. Caitlin Clark is no ordinary athlete. In 2024, she completely transformed the WNBA landscape. As a rookie, she put up 19.2 points and 8.4 assists per game, shattered attendance records, and single-handedly fueled a 400% explosion in Indiana Fever merchandise sales. The team went from drawing 4,000 fans to packing 17,000-seat arenas night after night. She didn't just boost the franchise, she revived it. So if any player has earned the right to bring in a trusted former teammate for a legitimate shot at the league, it's Caitlin Clark. And Gabby Marshall is no charity case. In her final season at Iowa, she knocked down 38.7% from deep and built a reputation as one of the toughest perimeter defenders in college basketball. She has the game. and Clark clearly believes she has the upside. This isn't favoritism. It's opportunity meeting preparation at the perfect moment.
100% with the Indiana Fever giving Gabby Marshall a tryout, because at the end of the day, what else do we have here? Like, it ain't that many people under contract. Look, off the strength of Cece, she should be able to get a tryout. You should at least have enough respect to do that. All right. J.R. Smith was able to get his brother on the team. Giannis Antetokounmpo got Thanasis Antetokounmpo on the team. All right. Caitlin, at least give Gabby a tryout now. I don't want to hear no excuses on why it can't happen.
But here's the real catalyst behind all the speculation: the CBA crisis. This is the giant, unavoidable elephant in the room that takes Gabby Marshall's move from interesting coincidence to potentially calculated strategy. The WNBA Players Association and the league failed to reach a deal by the January 31st deadline. Negotiations were pushed back 6 more weeks, with a new cutoff landing in mid-March. And that's a massive problem because training camps open in April and the season tips off in May. As of right now, there is no collective bargaining agreement in place. And if the talks collapse, the league is staring at 2 brutal options: cancel the entire season, or bring in replacement players. Replacement players, let that sink in. In 28 years, the WNBA has never experienced a lockout or a strike. Yet today, the league is closer to that scenario than at any point in its history. And if it happens, teams will need bodies, players willing to cross the picket line, or athletes who aren't part of the union yet. That's where the speculation around Gabby Marshall suddenly feels a lot less far-fetched and a lot more strategic.
Neared, and I can report that, we saw a report a few weeks ago on the league's proposals to the players. I actually have some updated numbers I'd like to share you all of where the league's latest proposal stands. Right now, they are offering a deal with a salary for players at the maximum with a $1 million guaranteed base, projected revenue sharing, pushing those total earnings for maximum players to more than $1.2 million, sources have told me just now. The average salary projection under this deal, the average salary across the board is projected to exceed $500,000. The minimum salary would be projected to exceed $225,000, sources tell me. And the salary cap would actually increase to $5 million a year, and sources say would be.
Let's break down what's actually on the table in these CBA negotiations, because the numbers alone explain exactly why neither side is willing to give an inch. According to the league's latest proposal announced on January 31st, the maximum guaranteed salary would jump to $1 million. Add in projected revenue sharing, and the league's top stars could pull in $1.20 to $2 million in total earnings. The changes don't stop there. The average league salary would soar past $500,000, and even the minimum salary would rise above $225,000. Meanwhile, the team's salary cap would explode from today's $1.5 million to a massive $5 million per team, tied directly to annual revenue growth. On paper, it's nothing short of revolutionary. For context, the current max salary is just $241,994. The average sits around $100,000, and the minimum is only $64,154. What the league is proposing isn't a simple raise. It's a total restructuring of the financial foundation of the WNBA. We're talking about 400% jumps for the top earners and a 340% increase for minimum contracts. These aren't tweaks. These are seismic changes to how WNBA athletes are paid.
For a little bit of a frame of reference, the salary cap for 2025 is around $1.5 million. So these are different numbers, updated numbers than we saw from about November 18th when that last deal came out. We don't quite know right now what the players do think of this, obviously. It was not enough to get to an agreement yesterday for a new CBA. So it will be very interesting to see. We know that revenue share and salary cap that was actually tied directly to revenue growth in the league was very important to them. It's right now, again, unknown what they think of this proposal. But the reason why both sides do want to have this 6-week kind of runway to try to come to agreement is that they really see this as an opportunity to have an urgency to actually get the deal done sooner than that. That was kind of an expectation in agreeing to this, and we'll see how much closer they can come as we get to the next 40 days or so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A deal has to get done before the
greatness is a journey.
A deal will have to get.
But this is exactly where everything gets messy and why negotiations have completely stalled. The league's proposal comes with massive salary increases, yes, but also strips away several essential benefits players currently depend on. No more team-provided housing during the season. No maternity leave stipends. No guaranteed travel accommodations. The league's argument? We're quadrupling your salaries. Now you can cover your own housing, travel, and expenses like every other pro athlete. But the player's stance is just as firm. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities. WNBA salaries have been artificially suppressed for decades, and the support systems in place were created to compensate for that low pay. You can't promise historic raises while removing the very resources players need to function, especially when NBA players earning similar revenue shares receive both higher salaries and full benefits. And that brings us to the core of the conflict. The WNBA generated roughly $200 million in revenue in 2020. The players want 50% of basketball-related income, matching the NBA split. The league is reportedly offering around 40%. A 10% difference might sound small, but the math is brutal. That gap equals $20 million every year. Over a 10-year CBA, that's $200 million. Money that will either go to players or stay with owners. This isn't a minor disagreement. This is the entire battle boiled down to one number.
You can keep pushing this thing 6 weeks. Like, I think a deal has to be done by January. I'm hoping they're able to get one done. A lot of people, it's a lot of differing opinions on the most recent offer from earlier today that was reported. A lot of people do not agree with them taking housing out of the deal. Some people do. I just feel like, hey man, listen, if the league minimum is going to be $225,000, you can go get your own apartment. That's just kind of how I feel. I don't know, but I mean, you get $1 million contract, you can go get your rent an apartment for however 4 months. Okay, it's not going to kill you. That's just how I feel. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. This is Keep the Vision. Make sure you like.
Now, let's bring this all back to Gabby Marshall, because her move suddenly becomes far more significant. If the WNBA season gets delayed or even canceled due to the CBA standoff, the Indiana Fever are staring at a massive crisis. This is a franchise that was supposed to ride the unstoppable momentum of Caitlin Clark's popularity. Every home game in 2024 sold out. Corporate sponsors are queued up. National TV windows are already locked in. And yet, they have only 3 players under contract. Caitlin Clark is one of them. The other 2, Lexi Hull and Katie Lou Samuelson, are role players. Everyone else, including all-star Aaliyah Boston, is either a free agent or sitting on a team option the Fever can't activate until a new CBA is finalized. With no confirmed salary cap, the front office is frozen. So if negotiations drag into March and put April training camp at risk, the Fever need an emergency plan fast. Enter Gabby Marshall. She knows Caitlin Clark's game better than anyone. She can shoot, defend, and slide into a rotation spot if the league turns to replacement players. And now, she just happens to be living in Indiana, fully available for a tryout at a moment's notice. This doesn't look like a casual life move. It looks like insurance, strategic, timely, and perfectly aligned with the Fever's biggest uncertainty.